The period from the early 8th century to the end of the 8th century is known as the Nara period. During this time, the Japanese imperial government was centered in Nara, and significant developments occurred in Sinicization, adoption of Chinese culture, and Buddhism. The Ritsuryo system, based on the concept of king's land, king's people, aimed for centralized rule by the emperor and his bureaucrats. It involved various forms of control over the populace, including taxation and the establishment of a military conscription system. In the first half of the 8th century, efforts to strengthen the Ritsuryo system were actively pursued. Policies such as the enlarged field system, which expanded agricultural land, were implemented. However, during the reign of Emperor Shomu, changes began at the political core, including the establishment of the Chugashiki, office of the empress. As the 8th century progressed, differentiation among agricultural workers emerged, leading to increased resistance from peasants. Tax revenues declined, prompting a shift in the Ritsuryo governance. Regarding territorial expansion, Japan's northern regions remained concentrated along the Japan Sea coast. The Japanese engaged with the people living in present-day Tohoku and Hokkaido, collectively referred to as the emissure. Japan adopted a dual policy, favoring submissive emissure while suppressing rebellious ones through military force. During this era, there were frequent occurrences of disasters such as droughts, famines, wildfires, and epidemics. Particularly, the smallpox epidemic that occurred from 735 to 737 resulted in a large number of deaths among both nobles and commoners. The four Fujiwara brothers, who were in power, also died one after another from the disease. Emperor Shomu, who believed these calamities were due to his own lack of faith, turned to Buddhism. He ordered the construction of Todaiji and promoted the national propagation of Buddhism. From the end of the 8th century to the end of the 12th century, it was called the Heian period, and Heiankyo, built by Emperor Kemu, was designated as the capital. In the early Heian period, the decline of the county magistrate class appointed from the ancient national family originating from the regional chief ancestor layer of the Kofun period and the differentiation of the peasant class further progressed. And there were limits to the Ritsuryo state system that had been continued from the previous generation. Therefore, the court energetically promoted a regional decentralization state system reform from around the beginning of the 11th century, and a system called the dynastic state system was established. In the dynastic state, local rule was developed by the recipient and its national office mechanism, which were delegated a large amount of administrative authority from the court. Under this recipient/national rule, the collection system was transformed from the per capita tax method of taxation backed by individual peoples grasped by the family register and the chief's right to the peasant layer by the county magistrate layer in the traditional Ritsuryo system, to the land unit taxation and wealthy peasant layer, and it changed to the fumio system that combined the agricultural management contract commission to the wealthy layer, such as the original national officers. Son who settled down. In the military aspect that backs up local governance, the samurai class, which is a government official layer that is recognized for its arms and use of force as a martial arts house through the national military system, responded to the rise of the Khitan and the turmoil of the Shanhai Tenkei and the invasion of Tachi. It rose to the occasion of contributing to the resolution of internal and external military crises. Also, in the central government, the regency politics that the Fujiwara North House established as the imperial family's relative in charge of the political center in the 11th century was established. When it entered the 12th century, changes occurred in the way of the dynastic state, and from the end of the 12th century to the 13th century, the quantitative increase of the manor and the qualitative change of autonomous one-round territory as a management unit became remarkable, and the authority gate became the manor lord. The manor and the public land controlled by the national office stand side by side in confrontation as equal existences, and in each of these, the samurai who can withstand the armed conflict between the manor and the public land become the local lords as local administrators, and the manor public land system called the medieval rule system was established. At the same time, The retired emperor started politics as a celestial ruler, and this era is said to be the milestone from ancient times to the Middle Ages. In the late Heian period, after the Hagan Rebellion and the Heiji Rebellion, the military power of the samurai began to determine the outcome of political struggles in the central political world, and as a result, the Heike government, which is evaluated as a primitive samurai government, appeared by the IC Heike who seized the political leadership in the central political world. In this era, hiragana and katakana created based on Chinese characters began to be used, and literary stories such as The Tale of Genji and The Pillow Book blossomed.